Hey, everybody. Noah. Everyone who reads and must converse is the channel. Nice to see you. Right. Let's see how it's sounding today, right? Before I really get started, I'm going to make sure that the sound is right. I got the YouTube channel in my earbud here. Hopefully should come up any second. We'll see how bad the latency is, right? Hopefully the stream is looking good too. Nice to see you guys. Sorry I've been away so long. Moving. I had one daughter move out of the house. Yeah, it sounds pretty good. All right, I'm just gonna let it roll then. Okay, we're just gonna let it roll with how it is. Um, I maybe give you guys a nice, if you will, once or twice during this one, right? There's so much to talk about though, and this new room. I mean, just look at the setup that I have right now, right here. This is ridiculous, and I haven't shown this on the YouTube very much. If anybody follows me on the YouTube, and you're just like, wow, what are you talking about? The the new library. On Instagram, I've shared quite a bit more because share pictures, right? Instagram is a perfect medium for sharing pictures. And I've shared quite a bit of my shelves now in the new house and how this room is set up. But this is my room down here. And this is a library / office that is awesome. Really set up awesome. What's up, Mark Richardson in the house? Hey, buddy. Long time no talk. And nice to see you on a Saturday. I saw your book stacks, man, cleaning up, reorganizing, getting them. I mean, what an amazing life we got, right? Looking pretty bookish. I know it. These three bookshelves behind me are three of my favorites. They go really well together. And then on the wall here, I have four bookshelves that are all the lesser quality bookshelves, all kind of bookshelves that I picked up over the years at thrift stores and stuff. But then I have two amazing bookshelves opposite me, a bookshelf of favorites over here, and two desks in here. It's just really an amazing room. I'm so happy with it and can't wait to share it with you guys more. I might just do some spinning of the camera later and give you guys a panoramic view of what's going on in here. Lately, I read the Incal. Was probably the last thing that I read. Final Incal. I read the graphic novels from Alejandro Jodorowsky. I don't really resonate with Jodorowsky's stuff. I was hesitant to go for it because Philip Friedenberg, who is America and the Cult of the Cactus Boots, right here, this guy, an amazing creative mind, said that the Incal is one of his favorite graphic novels ever, and that kind of thing. And I don't really resonate with The Holy Mountain and his movies so much, and I didn't want it to suck, right? But I can happily say that it delivers. Incal and Final Incal, even. I have this one hardcover. I read the Incal digitally, actually, and that was just an amazing little story. It does, it is not for everybody. It reminds me a lot of The Fifth Element. It's a really wild thing. A lot of different alien races and characters all over the place, right? It was just wild, and it is a blistering, fast-paced story. A lot of Deus Ex Machina, but it's because it's not about that. You learn in the Incal big time that it's about how they are, who is teaming up and who has done what to provide this solution to the problem that they're in. And that gives you insight into the depth of the story and what's being actually said, because all of the personages in the Incal are archetypes. They represent archetypes, and even the main character, John DeFool, is an archetype. So what you're really witnessing is a story of these archetypal powers and their of working with each other, and what the process of the universe is, something like that, right? And John DeFool plays the everyman, the individual. So it's very fun. Might get into it a little bit more later if you guys are into it. What's up, Edwardian Dingle the Third? So glad I'm back. I hope I do more videos moving forward. I do too, and I'm into it. I really like it. I like making content. It's just what does people want, as well. Um, I'm more than happy to share myself, and there is some content that is coming up. I hope people are excited about it, and if you are, please say it so that then I can know. One of the things is digging into Jung's Red Book, and I had done that over the course of the last year. I got it, the big illustrated red book. You can see a video on my channel. I might link it in the description box if I can remember to do it, where I show this Jung's Red Book, the big facsimile edition. It's up on the top of my shelf. I can't grab everything down. You should see this desk. It's full of books here. But I got the reader's copy as well, and I was going through it, and it's just very psychologically deep stuff, archetypal as well, and strictly Jung himself, right? He was it's all filtered through Jung. And I've come in contact with so much of this kind of work, talking about an approach to reality that is completely filtered within oneself. James Joyce Ulysses, for example, William Blake's Jerusalem, right? These kind of things where these authors are actually geniuses, and it takes so much of one to do that, right? And so I love it, but also, I'm not a Jungian analyst, and I struggle to understand how everything's fitting together, especially since I haven't read all of Jung's stuff, right? And I'm not trained, right? This is psychoanalysis on a level that, I'm not. So I found this awesome podcast, and it's available on YouTube all the time. It's called This Jungian Life, and there's 3 Jungian analysts talking, and they're really digging deep into Jungian archetypes and ideas and actual application to your life. And I've really fallen in love with this podcast, This Jungian Life, and I listen to it every once in a while, and it is just what it is, but their speech is so comforting and welcoming to growth. It's really, really it is a quintessential breath of fresh air. They've been doing it for a long time. I'm listening to old episodes. I don't know what the state of the show is now or anything like that. I just kind of watch whatever comes up. You did read Joseph Campbell's Portable Jung. Great stuff. Yes. Yeah, for sure. And I have a basic writings of Jung up there that is my next kind of thumb through, just because I need more to put it all together. You know what I mean? I'm no Jungian analyst myself, but I've been digging into that. So, the best thing, have I read Carpenter's Gothic? I have not read Carpenter's Gothic. I love Gaddis, Recognitions, and JR, of course. And I have both of those videos on the channel. You probably have seen, but I don't want to read any more Gaddis because that's going to be over if I do, right? He doesn't have that many books. So I don't want to be finished with Gaddis. Carpenter's Gothic is next on my list. What has helped me and really been an amazing thing on my Jungian journey and to understand Carl Jung is this game. All right. And this is Persona 5 Royal. Don't laugh, or laugh if you want, but this is some of the best characters and the best storytelling that has ever been in any game. This is beyond a game. My brother is a gamer. I have a brother who's a gamer, and he has a Twitch channel, and he contributes to it when he feels like, and all this kind of thing. And but he knows his stuff, and he turned me on to a game called Near Automata, and it's an amazing game, but it's a game, right? And it's philosophical. It has a philosophical bent. This game, these developers, Atlas is the name. These developers love Carl Jung. These developers created this game in the Parabola journals. I have seen some of them, and yeah, you can get them. I see them pop up in my Instagram feed. You know, we all follow these these booksellers that have all these old editions, right? And I see Parabola journals pop up in there. All the gameplay, every single thing about this game is based on Jungian theory, Jungian worldview framework, and it is shadow work. It is the collective unconscious, and it is apathy syndrome. It is control and how we kind of want to be slaves, or want to not be in control, so we're not responsible for things, this kind of thing. But it is of an unbelievable depth, this game. I can't stress it enough. And it helps people. It is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it is all Jungian. Me and my brother have gone off hours and hours and hours talking about this game and exploring it. So what I want to do is actually get on and do Jungian exploration of this game. I mean, the story and how things are working out, because it is amazingly beneficial for it is path work. What it is individual path work, and it shows people how to do it. The path work. It shows people how to overcome anything, how to overcome these different obstacles in our life, internal obstacles, and become a better person. It is an unbelievable game. And these guys, Atlas, is coming out with a new game this year. I mean, no, it's like in a week or something. It's called Metaphor Refantasio. You know, it's not for the Switch. I just have the Switch here at the house. So I don't know about the new game. It'll be out for the Switch 2 or something like this, but it's just getting these kind of reviews. Me and my brother have been talking about Persona 5 Royal and in Jungian context for now multiple weeks. It's been awesome. And might bring some of that to the YouTube. Maybe I'll just do that in a Jungian Persona 5 Royal playlist here on the channel, where I'm just exploring that. And hopefully my followers will enjoy it. Maybe it'll be for people who don't normally follow the channel, right? But either Jungian or gamers that like want to explore the depths in a game are both going to be here for that one. I'll put this up here. Jung and Persona 5 Royal. Does that work? How's that look? Persona 5 Royal's in that, plastic, so it just gets blown out. Okay. Let's see if I can do it like that. Is that better? I think that is better. Okay. So another thing, just maybe a last word on the Incal, or another way to explore the Incal, and not just that story, right? Incal, Final Incal, Jodorowsky's graphic novels here. They're really good. I would say they're really good, worth a read. I read the Incal digitally. It's a wild ride. Very cool. But it made me think of how awesome. Yeah. Speaking of games, in this case, in literature, Herman Hesse Magister Lundi, the glass bead game, heard that AI is making that more of a possibility. Wow. And looking at the way that now let's say, people, influential people game the system, and that there is this kind of exchange, even just energetically, always going on, that there is some kind of a game, here like that. And it's just like blows my mind to think about that. That how much of it really do we have, do certain, to some people, maybe have control over, have influence over. If I've read any of the following: Omega Minor, Garden of Seven Twilights, Dead Souls, Melmoth the Wanderer, Solenoid, The Sea and the Sea. Yeah, right. Nice. I don't have The Sea and the Sea. I'd like to read it. Iris Murdoch, all right. And I do have Solenoid, and Jack at Rambling Raconteur has got me hyped on Solenoid just by hearing his thoughts on his reading of it. So that will be a good exploration. I'm not really into fiction right now, to tell you the truth, and I'm a guy that goes through phases in my reading. When I started my YouTube channel here about 4.5 years ago, at that point, I got back into reading fiction after a long time of reading Kabbalah and spiritual texts, a Western esoteric spiritual texts. At that point, I always read Buddhism, read Buddhist sutras, but I was digging into Kabbalah for a good year and a half, 2 years before starting the YouTube channel. And right before I started the YouTube channel, I wrote my own fiction novel first draft. When I finished the first draft, I started my YouTube channel, and I just found myself falling back into reading as much fiction as I can get my hands on, right? Because YouTube and booktubers and all this, it's all fiction. People want stories, right? And it's all fiction stories. What's the most amazing fiction stories, And we're always looking for more. And so I got into fiction, and I got to where I've read enough fiction for that, this one chunk of, reading fiction. And I got back into reading Buddhist sutras more than anything. Now, I've read a lot of stuff. I've read some of Gurdjieff's Beelzebub's Tales to His Grandson. Read some, just all over the place reading, like I normally do. Read some Crowley, whatever, some tarot books, whatever, right? But I read the Avatamsaka Sutra before I started the Jungian stuff, and my mind just stayed in the Avatamsaka Sutra. Hey, Trish, great to see you again, too. Thanks for coming by. Yeah, this is my little, coming back to hang out a bit, because I haven't made content in a while, and I really miss it. And I have a great space for it right now. Let me tell you, I'm going to blow your guys' mind if I do like a little 360 on you. But I will. I'll do it. I'll do it a little later on. It might not be so smooth and stuff. I don't want it to be right in the middle of the video. But the Avatamsaka Sutra is one of the most expansive, mind-blowing stories that there ever has ever been written. It's the most wonderful spiritual vision ever, and it really is everything. So we gravitate to these stories that are encyclopedic or monolithic, right? These kind of stories, like big book like Solenoid, right? Never forget when you burst on the booktube scene. Was it the Zohar? Yeah, it was the Zohar. That was my first YouTube channel. Some of my first content was this Zohar set right here, unboxing it, because I had just started my channel, and I did it in January, January 1st. And that was a Christmas gift that year, was that Zohar set. I had been searching for it for years, a couple of years, getting into Kabbalah and all that kind of stuff. And, finally found it used. I found that whole set. It's ridiculous. It's one of my first videos. Y'all go check it out if you have no idea what I'm talking about. Very interesting stuff. And I mean, I love reading on some Zohar, but this thing, um, chapter 39, not the whole thing. You can just read chapter 39 and maybe I'll do some kind of read along. I mean, this thing is not easy to recommend and not easy to get into. So I don't really, I don't want to push it, but I want to give my experience of it and talk about it, and I will share more. There's some Avatam Saka content on my channel, not much, but I will share more. And I want to give you guys more resources to get into something like this so that you don't have to just experience my video and what I'm trying to express of it, but you can actually experience it for yourself, right? And really get it. What's the best Kabbalah text for someone who's never read anything on it? Well, what got me into the Kabbalah is Aleister Crowley's Book of Thoth. So, and it's the tarot. It got me into Kabbalah, right? The best Kabbalah text for someone who's never read anything on it is the Kabbalion by the Three Initiates. If you got that. The Three Initiates is a pseudonym, of course, is William Walter Atkinson wrote that book. And he was a, mystic business man, right? And one of these, early 19th century, early 19th century, looking for esoteric enlightenment and this kind of thing, and really into the spiritualism. That's this whole movement brought this kind of thing into pop culture in the United States in a way. And we have this whole movement boom of this kind of information. So the Kabbalion is probably the best because it's succinct and it'll give you exactly what the philosophical underpinnings for Kabbalah. The Kabbalion is actually Hermeticism, but Hermetics is like the philosophical side of Kabbalah, and Kabbalah is like the intellectual, systematic, striving to be systematic, trying to make a system out of information rather than just let things be what they are. It's what our mind does, right? So it's intellectual, and basically personalities, all that kind of thing come to play and all that. So Kabbalah is it'll intellectually lock you down. It intellectually locked me down for a long time, and I still love it. I mean, there's a lot of Kabbalah in Persona 5 Royal. There's a lot of Kabbalah in Jung, in Jung's Red Book especially, right? So Kabbalah is something that is everywhere. You have come in contact with Kabbalah if you've read any of Thomas Pynchon's work, right? Kabbalah is all in Gravity's Rainbow and Against the Day. Any thoughts on Alan Watts? I like Alan Watts. I really do. I still can listen to Alan Watts. I like Alan Watts' perspective a lot. I understand Alan Watts in a way of, I know, and he knows he is who he is, and he's the type of teacher he is for his time. And the type of teacher he is for that time still has a lot of benefit today on a lot of people. So I don't disparage Alan Watts, but I don't, and I do encourage people to listen to Alan Watts because it is definitely further along than most people are, than most people can fathom, right? So yeah, he's great, as far as being helpful. And he's always very clear to say, hey, but I'm not, I'm a rascal just like you. I'm your teacher, but I'm no saint, and I'm no example even, but just an example of what I am. That's what I am. So read this one, still in love with it, still going to give you guys some content, but I found a wonderful Buddhist teacher that has written a lot of commentaries, and I found him because he wrote a commentary on the Lotus Sutra, the Threefold Lotus Sutra. This is my favorite translation of the White Lotus Sutra. In here, the title is The Sutra of the Lotus Flower. of the wonderful law. So I call it the Lotus Sutra. I call it the White Lotus Sutra. And everybody knows what sutra I'm talking about. You know, if you even look it up because you don't know, you're going to go to the right sutra. But it's not called the White Lotus Sutra. Direct translation, Saddharma Pundarika Sutra, is a white lotus, right? But the more, you know, it's the spirit of the words, not the words themselves, that is why the title of this is. And it is the Lotus Flower Sutra, the Lotus Flower teaching of the real truth, is how it could be translated. And I'd a lot say the Lotus Dharma Flower Sutra, which is a teaching. Dharma is a teaching. The Dharma Flower Sutra, things like that. But this guy, Sylvain Chamberlain is his name. And I'll leave a link down in the description box to Threefold Lotus Kwoon. That's where he's at. And oddly enough, it's in Alabama. And he did a commentary on the Lotus Sutra and went through it with videos and all that. And it is masterful. It is wonderful. It really conveyed the Lotus Sutra with so much clarity that I didn't even know was possible. Clarified it for myself, and definitely will clarify it for anybody else. So I really loved it. Watched, listened to the whole thing. And what is really special about it is, a teaching was given in a certain language at a certain time, right? And that teaching is of something that can't really be described in any other way. It's an enlightenment teaching, a teaching of the Buddha. So something like the White Lotus Sutra is given at a certain point, and then there's all these translations where they're trying to make that sutra communicatable in another language to another culture. And there's all these translation things, biases, prejudices, cultural ideas, all this stuff that creeps into translations, right? And he strips all that away. Sylvain Chamberlain has done an amazing thing with the White Lotus Sutra, where he strips all of that away. And he's giving the Lotus Sutra in all of its purity, in a very pure way that's even more pure than something like this, I would say, because this doesn't address anything, and so you have just the translation. You can do that for yourself, right? You can do it for yourself, kind of negate cultural things that are happening, or cultural words or cultural ideas that creep in. But we're so far removed from these cultures that there's a lot that we could never be hopeful to be be successful at, even if we tried. So to have somebody do that is so, he gets it. Very, very wise teacher. So next he's going to, and he's preparing it right now. If anybody wants to get into it, I'm going to go through this with him, and I will maybe put out some of my own content of my own thinking and my own experience with the Mahaparinirvana Sutra. So he is going through a translation of Mahaparinirvana Sutra right now with commentary, and he's commenting on it and doing the same treatment that he did with the Lotus Sutra, with the Mahaparinirvana Sutra. And I've never read this. I've never read the Mahaparinirvana Sutra before. The Mahayana Mahaparinirvana Sutra, because there is two Mahaparinirvana Sutras. One of them is a Hinayana in the Pali Canon, and then one is this Mahayana text, which is a more glorious and revealed state of Buddhism. JD Dixon is here. Yes. Watching my on my big TV. Oh man, dude, don't blow it up too big. I'll scare the kids. Good to see you too, brother. Thank you for engaging with what I'm doing too. Happy Saturday. That's for sure. Who is his publisher? You mean Sylvain Chamberlain, the writer, the teacher? He's self-publishing his writing. It is his own, personal work. And this here is my translation that I have of the Mahaparinirvana Sutra. I got this last Christmas as well. Dr. Tony Page, and you can see a little bit of content on YouTube of Dr. Tony Page talking Buddhism, but they are very short videos. There's no production value whatsoever, and he is just speaking to his computer camera, and it is perceptive stuff. I enjoyed it, but there's not much there, and there's not much to recommend. But I will be going through that. Whoever is interested, drop a line. Let me know if you are interested, and we'll go through it together. Then I definitely will create content and make sure everybody knows, or that there is a place where progress is updated as we go through it, right? Because it is a lengthy work. Yeah, Mark Richardson. Yep, Emily's here, my baby. I think she's at the grocery store, or maybe she might be back now. Went to the grocery store with Zelda, which is why I started my live ventures today. So I'm going to move the microphone back a little bit. Y'all tell me if it gets too low. I can turn it up. I can make that happen. And I'm going to show you, if we're going to talk about some big works, right? I have a very special exclusive for you guys. Okay, I'm gonna get it differently. We're gonna get it this way. This will be better. Let's get it off screen more. All right, I'm gonna give y'all an exclusive. Today I'm gonna show y'all the new champion of my library. The new champion of my library, the biggest book that I own. And I don't mean biggest in size. I mean biggest in number of pages in binding. So my beautiful Emily had the wonderful idea, after seeing these books in a used bookstore. We were in a used bookstore together, and I saw these books, and I just told her, I said, oh my God, what I wouldn't give to have this, for my library. But I'm not going to buy them because they're reference, for reference. I've read most, if not all, of this stuff, and this is the Buddhist Pali Canon. So now I do have and can reference. You see, I've been through this one a little bit. What I have saved there, that is in the Connected Discourses of the Buddha, a translation of this basket of teachings that's in the Pali Canon. This is where is located the first sermon that the Buddha got, the sermon at Deer Park. So let's go ahead and give you some of that action. Let's see if we can. We got the Connected Discourses, right? Now we have the long discourses of the Buddha, right? Here's the Pali Canon. You see how they're separated by size of the teaching, right? This is how the monks memorized the Buddha's teachings. So we have the Connected Discourses and the long discourses. And then we have the middle length discourses, right? Here's the middle length. You see, I don't have a dust cover on that one. That's fine. I'm not a stickler, right? I want it to read. I have it, baby. It's making me happy. So we have the middle length discourses. Are you ready? I mean, is there more? Yes, there's more. Is there more, Noah? Yes, there's more. This one's hard to say. The Sutta Nipata. Sutra Nipata. Sutta is how it is in Pali, right? But sutra. So this is another collection, part of the Pali Canon, right? And you might say, Noah, holy crap, man. I mean, honestly, that is not just one book though, right? It's not one book, one binding, right? That is that. Well, I'm not done because we have the numerical discourses of the Buddha. The numerical discourses of the Buddha. Am I right? I mean, look at this, okay? And do you want to take a guess? How many pages is this book? Take a guess. How many pages before I spoil it? I did that with one hand. That's one hell of a grip. Do you see this? That's one hell of a grip, y'all. Okay. How many pages? How many pages can there be in one book? I'm not even counting blank pages. There are plenty of blank pages at the end of this book. 1,924 pages in just this book right here, Numerical Discourses of the Buddha. Biggest binding in my library. Biggest book in my library. Period. Avatamsaka Sutra by Thomas Cleary. This big beast right here clocks in at 1,643 pages. 1643. Right? I mean, how crazy is that? You know? You see some books and you think, man, that's a big book. And then you can see books next to it that just dwarf it. A lifetime of reading and contemplation right there. You know it, baby. You know it, Mark. At some point in my happy times, at some point, I'm going to have the rest and relaxation spots like you have, right? I don't have it set up like that, my boy. I still got, still got a ways to go. Still got a ways to go. But you can show me. You show me the way, man. Oh, the girls are home. Let me see. Let me close this door. The girls are home. So the girls got home from the grocery store. And we'll see what I think my wife is making chili tonight. It's good. Fall came in. Fall came into Georgia here pretty quick. What's up, John? John Merkovic's in the house. Nice to see you, bro. Yeah. Booyah, big books. Am I right? We're going to look at them some more. I didn't mean to just take them right off, But these books it's interesting because they're not set up, chronologically or anything. I mean, they're all these teachings were given at the same time during Buddha's lifetime, right? And it's not about what was first, what was second, because so much teachings are formulated for individuals that Buddha came in contact with in his life, right? A lot of it is teachings for individuals that can be applied and understood to help many, many people, but it is upaya, skillful means. Upaya is one of the most wonderful ideas in all of Buddhism because it means that the right thing to do is not a line between right and wrong. Gotta run. See you later, Mark. Thanks for coming by. The right thing to do is not a line between good and wrong, good and bad, or right and wrong as far as some judgment like that. It is the right thing to do is what helps people, is what helps the most people, and what helps people to grow. And I mean, there's just so many stories that the action that is the quote unquote right thing to do is counterintuitive because it's much more clear in Buddhism. And when you're talking Buddhism and in this way to explore in terms of skillful and not skillful. Some action is more skillful and some action is less skillful. And the Buddha's actions and words are the most skillful all the time. That's the Buddha wisdom. That's what makes a Buddha the Buddha, is that his actions are always skillful like that, and that he's operating like that. That's what makes the Buddha the Buddha. There is a lot of exploration that can be done on terminology, and I don't do that myself usually, but it is very beneficial for people to understand what it is that's being talked about. These texts are going to be very steeped in the Indian culture, as far as in ways that the Buddha explains things, because he's explaining things to people of that culture. And you find these parts where then he is able, because he's talking to people who have been on the path for a large portion of their lives and his by that point, and he's gotten them to a certain level of understanding where he then can drive deeper into universal truths. What is wisdom? What is reality? What is these ideas that of just ideas in general, right? Self, no self, all that kind of thing. And you have to. I just tell people, you have to go step by step with Buddhism. You're not going to get it all at first, and the more and more you come in contact with, it's just like it keeps adding on to your understanding and augments your understanding. What's up, Josh? Working Man Reads, bro. Did you move down to like the coast? Are you down here by me now? That's awesome. I was in a bookstore near me and went into the spiritual section and thought of you in the Buddhist section. That's right, man. I was there, bro. I was there. So if you see these are your core. This is like some straight, but you can actually find all of these books. You can find all of these writings online for free. I've read so much of this already. Like I said, you got Buddha's first sermon, of course, the turning of the wheel of the Dharma, the Dhammapada, the whole Dhammapada is in here, right? That's, I believe, in this one here. The Dhammapada is something that's so popular from this canon of work. What comes out of this canon of work, though, is all the basic ideas of the Buddha's formulation of the Dharma in his lifetime. Four noble truths, eightfold path, and dependent co-origination. Live in South Carolina now. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, very cool, man. Yeah, not far at all. We'll have to make something happen one day. That's for sure. So I'm loving this, and I love to have these for reference, where I can just I can find every sutra, anything that Buddha's discourse on fire. Hey, there's a wonderful discourse on fire that the Buddha gave on the Rajagriha, a mountain, the same crag that he gave the Lotus Sutra. So he gives that, I read that online, but now I know I have that. It's in here somewhere, the Sermon on Fire, and I can find it pretty freaking easy, right? There's a concordance and appendices in these that make it really easy for you to navigate and get where you need to be. So I love having them. Really love having them. Hope you guys as well. And they will lend some help and some, maybe allow me to fill it out more tangibly, my Buddhism from a Western perspective playlist. Kabbalah, SL McGregor Mathers. Yeah, for sure. Now, I have some Mathers as far as, what is it? Like one of his, he wrote out something, one of his tracts. It's not a large book, but um just stuff that is part of OTO and these systematic groups, even Arthur E. Waite's stuff, like the Brotherhood of the Rosy Cross and his writings. I don't, you suspect, right? I don't really think that the capital T truth of even what Kabbalah is in there. And also Crowley's stuff, of course it's not the truth. He tells you as much himself that he's not giving you the truth. So this kind of thing, I think that ultimately the Kabbalah is a personal thing. You must filter it. It must happen within the individual, just like any other spiritual path, right? And one of the best primers for Kabbalah in existence is Promethea by Alan Moore. This is the greatest graphic novel ever done. Maybe the greatest story, because of how awesome the imagination is and how awesome the artwork is that to prompt the imagination, and then the journey that you go on. It's there's nothing that even compares. I love it so much. It is of so much benefit to those who may experience it. And Alan Moore doesn't pull any punches in this, doesn't pull any punches at all. And like I said, it's a primer for Kabbalistic study, though. This book, this whole series is a primer for Kabbalistic study. And it couldn't be done better. The only kind of thing I will qualify it with is that it's Alan Moore's Kabbalistic journey, right? Everything is filtered through the individual that is doing it, right? So you just can't find anywhere where, it's hard to find a place where somebody is really speaking of universal truth and of a universal quality. And finding those things is just amazingly beautiful. And going on somebody else's journey with them can get people there, right? I mean, I'm not throwing shade on it because of that, or throwing shade on other explorations because of it being personal or subjective, right? Because there is actually nothing but subjectivity, right? A real truth for you guys. There's nothing but subjectivity, actually. Everything's subjective. So there's a lot of cool Buddhism explorations that I got. I'm thinking of doing the Jungian explorations of the game. You guys let me know what kind of strikes you as interesting out of that. Mahaparinirvana Sutra exploration is coming. How much content I do on that is going to be based on how much interest there is. If people are interested, I'll do content as I'm going through it more often. If not, then I'll just do maybe at the start and then finish it up or something with longer videos. And that's just how it's going to be. Other than that, I got my first draft of my novel. I have done some rewriting on it already by now, of course. But it's ready for a rewrite. So this is my weapon of choice. I have my iPad with my magic keyboard, Scrivener's on here, and the book, the novel is on here in its first draft, formatted just right, ready to be rewritten. So that will be going on. Might do some writing sprints, just to have some content. And if people want to hang out, I'm not opposed to doing that, because I'm down to hang out. So if that is a thing, you let me know. We might do some writing together, and I hope to maybe have it done by the end of the year. I mean, finished by the end of the year, to where then I'm happy with letting anybody read it. Noah's back. That's right. What's up, Jack? Jack the Rambling Raconteur is in the house. Nice to see you, man. And yeah, we've done almost an hour now. And I will put description box information. Sylvain Chamberlain, Threefold Lotus Kwoon, This Jungian Life is that podcast I was talking about. Um, Links to different videos mentioned and all that kind of thing. Thank you guys for coming and crushing an hour with me. And we'll catch you next time. Book team. Bye bye.